All right. All right. We're live. That's cool. I don't know if anybody will show up, but I've definitely been wanting to do more fun videos like this.
Number 9.
So we'll see. We'll see who pops in. Let me know if you guys are in. Let me know if you can hear me okay. Let me know if everything's running okay. Most of you are probably on my video right now, but hopefully you'll see my comment. So we'll see. I never go live on this channel unexpectedly, and I never go live on Thursdays, but I don't know, man. We'll see. I might just hop into it and just watch by myself till people show up. That might be the game to play. I'm not sure. I have no idea. But what's up, guys? If you're hopping in, let me know how it sounds. Let me know how everything looks. Let me know who you are, all that stuff. Definitely want to hang out with some of you guys. Just enjoy what we're doing. Yeah, dude, we just posted a video. It's been crazy. It's been really good. YouTube has been kind to me the past week or so. But if you're here, let me know who you are. Let me know what's up. I think I'm just gonna play the video, to be honest, and we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Ming Chan. Ming Chan, a Chinese traveler, visited Guadalupe Island in Mexico, one of the most popular destinations for shark lovers. He was the only one in the reinforced cage when a shark was attracted to the chum placed just outside the bars. It lunged at the piece of tuna, only to accidentally crash against the metal rods. It managed to enter the cage, much to Chan's horror. The wild animal actually swam by Chan's side for over 20 seconds.
Bro,
the diver
like
tried his
Jaws
best
stuff,
to keep
dude.
some distance,
That's
while the boat's crew
frantically
frantically attempted to help him. It was only when the top was opened that the shark could finally swim away.
Bro, I think I've seen this video too, but they're powerful creatures, bro. They're powerful.
A video of the entire encounter shows the beast bleeding profusely, having
I've
injured
definitely
itself
seen
during
this.
the struggle. Luckily, Chan survived the potentially deadly
And I don't know, bro, when you pull a shark out of the water, period, it starts to bleed and like...
Shark diving is an extreme activity that mixes snorkeling or diving with nature observation. Participants enter a
Hey,
cage
Young
typically
King, what's up, bro?
underwater
Let me know if
to
everything
keep
sounds
themselves
okay.
protected from the animals around them. It can be practiced for scientific, cinematographic, or touristic purposes.
Dude, look at those teeth,
Sharks
bro.
are usually attracted to the cage with the use of bait, a process which is called chumming. These cages are also used during decompression processes to avoid becoming vulnerable to attacks. There's a rare and extremely dangerous variation in which practitioners bypass the use of cages altogether.
I've seen that too.
Explorer, inventor, conservationist, and filmmaker Jacques
Why
Cousteau
does... Okay, but why does his face look plastic? I feel like this is not a real person.
is said to be the first to use this device.
Hey, Shakeen, what's up, bro? I definitely will have to do it at some point.
Movie, The Silent World. The cages work not only as a physical deterrent for attacks, but also as a visual one. Usually, it keeps sharks from even attempting to bite the divers inside it. Number 8. Great white shark death.
What's up, G2
During what seemed
Potato?
to be an ordinary cage diving experience, a great white shark got trapped after savagely colliding with the enclosure's metal bars. The incident, like many
that's
others on the
sad.
list,
Honestly, dude, we're always screwing stuff up, bro.
happened in Guadalupe,
People are
Island,
bad.
which is considered one of the most important great white sanctuaries in the world.
That's got to be one of the
Divers
reasons
watched from
that
inside the cage as the shark fruitlessly struggled to break free.
it's got to be one of
It
the
soon
reasons why
began bleeding
shark
profusely.
shark
There was
diving
nothing
and
to do
stuff
but wait for the
is
wild
illegal
animal
now
to
in
escape.
a lot of places.
The shark was badly injured during the struggle and bled to death.
That's
After
sad.
25 minutes, the predator finally broke free with
Bro,
blood
also,
oozing
if
from
you
its
guys
gills.
like this
Soon after it
stuff,
stopped moving, and its
this
corpse
channel,
dropped to the ocean
they
floor.
will kill you. That's what they're called.
Number
They
7.
allowed me to react
Mark
to their
Curry.
stuff. They said it was completely
Mark Curry
fine.
was
They
vacationing
didn't have
in
any
South
issues with
Africa.
it.
When he decided
So
to
if
go
you like
shark
any of
diving,
the stuff
he
that we
noticed an
watch,
18-foot
go
white
and
shark,
subscribe to
kept
them.
circling
It's
the
like
boat.
the first link in
It
my
was only
description.
after the
But
massive animal
go
began
do
to
it because
round
they're
and bite
awesome.
at the cage's bars that the British man realized he needed to get out as soon
bro,
as
that's
possible.
terrifying.
The boat's captain attempted to
I want to
distract
do
the
this
shark,
so bad.
but it seemed
I
set
really
on
want to
reaching
go.
Curry. It wasn't until the beast was struck on the head with an iron pole that Curry was given enough respite to swim off the top of the cage.
They just
He was
snapped it
rushed up
and
onto
he
the
got
boat,
out.
while the shark kept trying to get him. Fortunately,
Hey, BC,
Mark Curry
thank you,
survived
bro. I
his
appreciate
ordeal,
it.
thanks to the
Elive,
crew's fast thinking. He would later
Elive
recount
Music.
how he feared
What's up, bro?
drowning
How
or
are
being
you?
viciously mauled by the raging shark. During the early 2000s,
Dude, that
shark
thing is
diving grew
huge.
increasingly more popular among the general public.
That's
South Australia
ginormous.
considers this to be the most iconic nature-based tourism experience. They report it contributes $11 million to the local economy.
Damn.
Other well-known spots for this activity are the Bahamas, Cuba, the coast of Mexico, Cocos Island in Costa Rica, and Galapagos Island in Ecuador.
Bro, I want to go
There
shark.
were several
I want to go
locations
in a
in
shark
the
cage
US that
so
welcome
bad.
tourists interested in swimming with sharks within a controlled environment. Isla Guadalupe in Mexico is considered the best destination to dive with white sharks.
That's where I
It's
gotta
only
go then.
reachable via liveaboard, and the pristine waters allow for exceptional visibility.
That's the one that I
Number
want to
6,
react to,
Craig
Eli.
Bovin.
That's the one I want to do next for a live,
Craig
maybe
Bovin
on
wasn't
a
diving
Friday
inside
or
a
a
cage
Saturday.
when he was attacked by a great
I
white
want to do
shark.
that one because
But
I feel like that'd be
his
really,
injury
really
was
interesting.
this activity. Bovin, an avid snorkeler, was searching for lobster at Scarborough. This area is well known to shark diving aficionados, and several boats dedicated to this practice can be found along the
That's
region's
so cool. I
coast.
wanna go
He
shark
was
diving,
bitten
dude.
by a great white shark and barely managed to make it out alive.
Bro,
Bovin considers that chumming is to blame for his injuries, as it has radically
could you
altered
imagine? Could you imagine what type of alpha male you would be walking around with like scars from a great white shark, and you're just fine? Like you're just the same dude.
sharks' behavior. These animals are, according to the attack victim, more prone to approach human beings in search of food and more violent when failing to receive it. Number 5. Nancy Lasuzo. Nancy Lasuzo was vacationing in Mexico when she visited Guadalupe Islands, a popular tourist attraction. While there, she decided to go cage diving and recorded the whole experience. As she was being
Look
lowered
at that thing,
underwater,
dude.
a great white shark swam straight towards the cage Lasuzo was in, unable or unwilling to change course in time. It began pushing against the bars, trying to break inside. Nancy
Dude,
would
sharks are
fortunately
scary, bro.
survive the
They're
encounter
like
and
alpha
recorded it all,
predators.
including the tense moments of the shark gnawing at the cage's bars. In the end, the young diver managed to escape unscratched but shaken up.
Dude, that's wild. Let me know how you guys are today. Let me know if you guys like these kind of reactions where it's just like stupid stuff and we don't really do a lot or anything else, but we just kind of chill and hang out together. Let me know if you want me to do more of these.
Diving among sharks, even when protected by a cage, has inherent risks. The pens are specifically crafted.
Playboy. No, I didn't see that. But NFTs are going to be a big thing now. And I feel like that would be a really cool thing, especially if you can market it the right way, right? NFTs are going to be something that people make a lot of money on soon. That's the kind of thing you want to invest in now. But that's really interesting that they're doing that. I didn't know that, but hopefully that they get out to the public and I'll be able to react to some, because those hopefully will not be copyrighted. Maybe the NFT owner can copyright them. I'm not sure, but definitely. So yeah, dude, that's cool. That you gotta message me on Instagram, keep me up to date with that. Dude, I want to be a megalodon. I would love to see that, right? Because animals get extinct, and then sometimes they come out of extinction because people find them, people cite them. They still have dinosaur sightings in parts of the jungle that have never been really like explored. And I don't know, maybe there's dinosaurs, maybe there's not. It'd be crazy if there was, but stuff like that, you know, they'd go deep sea diving and they find sharks that they didn't know existed, and organisms that they didn't know existed. It'd be cool to see something that we all know about that we think is extinct come back from extinction. That'd be so awesome. I want to see that in my lifetime.
Risks. The pens are specifically crafted to
But
resist
thank you for
bites
calling me a
and
megalodon.
grabbing attacks. But
That's
they
what I
aren't
want this channel to be,
100%
dude.
effective. Bull sharks have a bite force of 1,300 pounds.
Bull sharks are
meaning
like
they're
the
able
most
to
aggressive,
destroy
I think.
bones and shells. This makes their attack as vicious as that of a grizzly bear or a fully grown
That's
gorilla.
crazy.
With this kind of force, any sort of exposure
I don't think
to
so.
its
I feel like sharks are
massive and
worse
plentiful
because they
teeth
swim so
can be lethal.
fast in the
Extreme
water,
blood
right?
loss,
Like
broken
they
or
fly
even
out of the
severed
water.
limbs, drowning,
They're
and
swimming
death
that
are
fast. I
potential
feel like
risks
when
of
something hits you like that,
participating
it's
this
a
activity.
hard thing.
Those who oppose
What's
shark
up,
diving
Nicholas?
believe chumming could lead to aggressive behavior among the beasts, as they could easily
that's
get
kinda
used to
the
approaching
point, right?
humans in order to get fed. Number 4.
Oh,
Roger
okay, I see
Gray.
what you mean.
After getting married, Roger Gray felt the need to participate in some adrenaline-inducing experiences during the...
I don't know if Valeria's still in here, but I bet anything this is what's gonna happen for our wedding. We're gonna go on a honeymoon, and I'm gonna want to go shark diving on the honeymoon, and this is gonna happen to me.
Roger Gray felt the need to participate in some adrenaline-inducing experiences during the first day of his honeymoon. It happened back in 2013, while the newlyweds were
first day,
enjoying
too,
their
the
trip
first
to
day
South
of his
Africa.
honeymoon.
He decided to go alone on one of the area's most popular extreme activities, shark diving. While underwater,
look at that thing,
he
it's
encountered
huge.
several different sharks. However, one seemed particularly violent and decided to ignore the bait being dangled outside the bars. Instead, it managed to get its head inside the cage and started biting around wildly. Gray ducked in time and avoided the shark's massive serrated
That's gonna
teeth.
happen to me.
Eventually, the monstrous marine animal swam away.
That's gonna happen to me
and
on
Gray
my
was
honeymoon,
able to return to his honeymoon.
and we're gonna post it
None
on
the
this
worse for
channel,
wear.
and it's gonna be dope.
Number 3. Katie Yonker. Katie Yonker and 3 other friends had spent little time underwater, protected by the thick bars of the shark tank, when they saw a 15-foot specimen swimming
Dude, look at
nearby
him.
without warning. The great
Sharks are
white
so
shark
cool.
lunged at their air supply, creating an explosion. Moments later, it got stuck in the bars. The incident
Did
occurred.
it just say he lunged at their air supply?
Lunged at their air supply,
What?
creating an explosion. Moments
This
later,
is literally
it got
Jaws.
stuck in the bars. The incident occurred in the Mexican region of Baja, California. Unable to breathe and trapped with a massive beast thrashing around, the divers had to react quickly. One of them swam up to alert the crew that they needed to pull up the cage. Once that happened, the trapped tourists could breathe, but the shark couldn't escape. The crew helped the tourists get out one by one before
That's
tying
wild.
a rope around the shark's tail. By submerging the cage back underwater and pulling on the knotted rope, they managed to help the grand large beast
That's
separate
cool.
itself from the cage.
That's super cool. How to survive?
In order to survive shark diving, it's vital to follow instructions and safety precautions, and to avoid taking unnecessary
so what's
risks.
up, bro?
Attempting to feed, bother, or pet the sharks is strictly forbidden. Every boat transporting participants must carry medical kits and oxygen supply.
Simp bag?
Respecting the environment
What's up, dude?
and the
How are you?
animals
I'm
swimming
pretty good.
around the cage is usually the best way to avoid any injury. Other common sense safety measures include keeping all limbs inside the cage
Well,
during
okay,
the duration
obviously.
of the activity, as well as avoiding collisions with other
I say obviously, but if I was in a shark cage, I'd probably stick my hand out.
participants, and entering the cage calmly and steadily. Understanding the basics of diving before going
Dude, look at that
underwater
guy.
is
He's
also
huge.
necessary. Without proper training, the risk of drowning or
Solos,
suffering
what's up,
decompression-related illnesses increases exponentially.
If you're the same
Today's topic
solos,
was
it's been a
inspired by
minute.
Alexa Try. If you have any other topics you'd like
Dude,
to...
so like I said, if you like this channel, we can do this more. We can do this like every Thursday or whatever. But if you like this kind of stuff, you like this channel, they were so kind to me. I emailed them and they got back to me the exact same day. And they said, yeah, you can react to our stuff. Here's some examples. Here's some other channels that do it. We'll even drop in and leave a like and a comment. And they're a big channel. And for a channel to be willing to do that, you know, they're not money hungry. They're not super greedy. They're not saying, no, you can't do that or pay us. They were so kind. So if you like anything, go and subscribe to them and go watch their videos on your own time too, because they definitely deserve it the way that they do business over there. But yeah, we'll keep doing them. Tori. Kurt Cobain would be cool. Definitely would be cool. Simp bag. I don't know who you're talking to. Benji. Solos. I'll have a video for you soon, bro. I just don't have any yet. I'm doing this, but
Also known as
soon.
the White Death. Great white sharks.
Everybody
are the
say hi to
largest
Tori.
living
She's my
predatory
sister.
fish in the world, reaching up to 26 feet long and over 7,300 pounds.
That's
His
huge,
deadly
bro.
jaw contains a total of 300
That's more than my
sharp,
car weighs.
triangular teeth with jagged edges that
A
if
lot more
broken,
than my car.
are
That's like
easily
2 of my
replaced
cars.
with a new tooth that grows in. They're known for their highly aggressive
Can you
nature.
guys hear the video
Once they
at a
bite
good
into your
level
flesh,
and also be
they'll
able to
shake
hear me
your
at a
head
good
from
level
side
if
to
I
side
talk over it?
in order to tear off your flesh or even an entire limb. Great white sharks have no natural predators
For sure,
in the wild,
Peso. I'll see you
aside
later,
from
bro.
orcas, making them one of the deadliest shark species on the planet. They're responsible for a whopping 272 unprovoked attacks on humans. The great white was, in fact, the same shark species in Steven Spielberg's
He lost his hand to a
1975
grip. That's
film,
wild.
Jaws.
Okay, turn it up a little bit.
Today's video was requested
Every
by
Thursday.
Instagram
Every Thursday I
fan
want to do like
Doggy
silly
Mad.
reactions like this.
If you have any other
Um,
topics you'd like to learn
but
about,
after that,
subscribe
you
and
know,
let
on,
us
like,
know in the
Saturdays
comment
and stuff,
section
I wanna
below,
do that.
or follow us on Instagram and
Look.
reach out to us there to learn about. Subscribe and let us know in the comment
Go
section
follow them. Go tell them that they're really, really awesome, because they really are. For them to be willing to let me do this is the kindest thing ever.
below, or follow us on Instagram and reach out to us there. Number 6, Rodney
Yeah,
Fox.
solos. It has been, dude. I've been kind of
Coming
off
from
and on,
Adelaide,
but
Australia, is Rodney
think I'm
Fox,
back.
who by
I
1962 became South Australia's spearfishing champion. But while defending his title in 1963, Fox was torn apart by a great white shark 50 kilometers off the coast of South Adelaide's
You're just
Aldinga
defending your
Beach.
title, and then a
The
shark
attack managed to
tears you
penetrate
up.
his diaphragm, break every single left side rib, shred his lungs open,
Oh,
tear open his
I'm
abdomen,
telling you, that's what I
expose
think.
his
I feel like, because if a bear or something else attacks you, they're not running at the speed that where if they hit you, it's going to be like getting hit by a car. But if you've ever watched the way that like sharks come out of the water, it's insane. They're so fast. Like, think about in the pool. You swim to the surface, your head barely bobs up a little bit. But for something to just jump out of the water, that's wild. They have to be going so fast. And then for all that weight to hit you that hard, that's going to break all your bones.
artery and spleen
Natasha,
and
what's up?
sever his scapula.
Nothing.
But
What's
despite
up?
all these injuries and losing
What's
a
up,
massive
everybody?
amount of
I hope
blood
everybody's good.
in such a short period of time, he survived. This was considered
Corey
by
says
many
she's
to be
fast.
nothing short of a miracle. There was also a shark tooth buried in his wrist, which had ripped the tendons off his right hand's fingers and thumb.
Bro,
He
is this your
required
friend of a friend? Is it
92
him?
stitches on his right hand and arm, along with 462 stitches on his chest.
Dude.
The mauling left him in rehab for almost
Hey, thank
a
you,
year.
bro. I really
The
enjoyed
Fox
Matt
managed to
Miller. He
return
was
to the
really good.
Spearfishing Championships in Victoria on the 1-year anniversary of the attack. Along
Dang.
with his many connections in the spearfishing world, he studied sharks further and eventually started an underwater observation program of
Alright.
great white sharks to prove that their motive isn't actually to eat humans. He also went on to help build the first underwater observatory cage for shark expeditions in order to provide
So he's the one who started shark diving. And he got torn up by a shark. So he's like, I want to go back down, but be safe.
people with
Next juice
learning
reaction,
opportunities about these underwater beasts.
Probably either this week or
Rodney
early
Fox
next
went
week,
on
like
to write
Monday
a
or
book
Tuesday.
titled Sharks, the Sea and Me, in which he goes into a detailed account of the deadly event.
Bro. You guys,
Great white sharks are
me tell
predominantly
you.
found
this podcast that we're doing is going to be so insane. It is so good. I am so excited for it. You guys gotta stay tuned because this podcast is gonna be amazing. I feel like as far as how my YouTube has grown, if anything can keep up with that and do work with that, it's gonna be the podcast. I feel like the podcast is gonna be just as good.
Atlantic and Indian Oceans.
Alright, bro. Mac
However,
Miller, we're
they're
gonna
known
do
to
more
travel
Mac Miller,
all
so
over the
definitely-
world
Definitely
and
recommend
love
those.
warm waters. The majority of attacks
I don't know
on
who that
humans
is,
occur
Dallas.
along
Tell
the
me about
coastal areas of the United States, Australia, and Africa. Before we continue, answer this quiz question. From where does the
Alright.
great white shark get its name? Is it A, its underbelly, B, its hundreds of sharp teeth, C, the foam it creates on the water's surface when attacking its prey,
I don't know.
D,
I'm dumb.
because it's racist.
No,
Let us know what you think the right answer is in the comment section below, and stay tuned till the end of this video to find out the right answer. Number 5. Randy Fry. August 2004. Randall Fry's life was taken by a great white shark off Southern California's Mendocino coast. Fry was a regular fisherman of Mendocino County, with close friends in Albion and Fort Bragg who were also in the same fishing committee. But one Sunday afternoon, Fry and his 2 friends, Cliff and Red, decided to go diving and fishing for abalone and salmon. Cliff and Fry were very familiar with these waters, as the 2 had spent the last 30 years around them.
You're wild, bro.
They went off hunting for salmon in Cliff's 28-foot sport fishing boat, but didn't catch much. They then moved towards the Kibasilla Rock in search of abalones. Fry and Cliff swam out about 150 feet from the boat, while Red stayed aboard. After 10 to 15 minutes in the water, Cliff felt something large swim by. The next thing he saw was ruckus in the water, followed by a pool of blood. He screamed, "Holy shit, shark!" then quickly swam for safety back to the boat. In the meantime, Fry was nowhere to be found. Coast Guards searched the area for 2 hours that same day, but it wasn't until the day after that Fry's body was found, which could only...
I'm kind of in a good mood where I don't want to be like looking over my shoulder every 5 minutes because I'm watching scary videos and I think something's behind me. But I definitely do want to do those. We're going to do all kinds of stuff, but I might stick to animals tonight. But every Thursday, we'll probably do it more often than that too, just depending on how it goes. But I want to interact with you guys more, especially you guys who stay for the lives and do that kind of stuff. He should have just asked the shark to be friends. And you think that wouldn't have happened to him? Wow.
Identified by the camouflage print wetsuit he had on, as there was no longer a face to be recognized. He was instantly killed when the great white shark separated his head from his torso.
What?
Attacks of this nature were rare in Mendocino.
What? Did y'all hear that?
But it wasn't until the day after that Fry's body was found, which could only be identified by the camouflage print wetsuit he had on, as there was no longer a face to be recognized.
Listen.
He was instantly killed when the great white shark separated his head from his torso.
What?
Attacks of this nature were rare in Mendocino, and as such, Randy Fry's death shook the California coast fishing communities.
Dude.
Great white sharks can reach speeds of up to 25 miles per hour and are even capable of jumping out of water. They have one of the most powerful bites in the animal kingdom,
if something that heavy can jump out of water that fast, it's
the bigger
going
the
to
shark,
tear you up.
the more likely your death will follow, as one bite from a great white could be enough to tear you in half. But if you're lucky enough to escape in one piece, then you'll be at high risk of bleeding or drowning to death, as the majority of attacks involve tearing off a piece of your flesh or ripping off an entire limb. Number 4. Terry Manuel.
That's crazy.
January 1974. 26-year-old Terry Manuel is severely bitten by a 10-foot-long great white shark in Streaky Bay, 450 miles south of Adelaide. Terry and his friend John were out on a boat diving for abalone, with Terry being the diver while John stayed on the boat to wait for Terry to resurface with the abalones. But upon his rise to the surface about 100 feet from the boat, a shark was spotted, and John...
Did you guys hear about the dude that he got attacked by a shark and he got away because he punched it in the nose? Literally, yeah, he got attacked by a shark and it was biting him, and he had like the whole torso in his body, in his mouth, and he just punched the shark and it let go of him and he escaped. So I feel like, yeah, that dude was prepared. So if you're not prepared, don't be swimming in the deep water.
Hurriedly drove the boat near Terry, who wasn't able to see the fish suddenly charge up to him. The great white's force was so strong, it sent him flying out of the water.
Dude.
John did what he could to prevent the shark from taking Terry underwater by grabbing his ear holes in an attempt to pull him up. One of Terry's legs was caught by the shark's jaw, while at the same time, John was battling to bring Terry up to the boat. The shark eventually let go, all the while taking Terry's right leg along with it. He was finally pulled up to the boat.
Bro, that's wild. You just see a shark with your leg, and there's like, he's just taking off with it.
boat but was bleeding profusely. He bled to death within moments. John was later interviewed stating, "I looked to see if I could apply a tourniquet, but his leg was gone." The leg was completely bitten off at the top of the thigh, and his right arm had been mauled between the elbow and the wrist.
Dude.
His chest and back was also bleeding. The incident consequently left many abalone divers off Adelaide's south coast area scared for their lives, causing many to temporarily leave their diving professions.
Official They Will Kill You merchandise is now available at theywillkillyou.com. Some of it is to die for.
Alright, here's how you survive a great white shark attack.
What most people don't know is that the majority of great white shark bites are simply test bites, in which they bite a swimmer or surfer in order to test out exactly what it is, which they then release in most cases, as the human bone to muscle and fat ratio is too high for the shark to digest. There have been instances.
They say that about us as far as anybody eating us, is that our ratio doesn't allow enough fat for us to be digested well. So especially like when people would get shipwrecked or they would spend, days in a lifeboat trying to survive and they would eat each other, it didn't actually help them because the fat in their body was so low that when they ate the meat, it could not be digested right. And so it would take so long to digest and it would be so difficult to digest that your body wasn't even getting any nutrients from it. So if you want to be a cannibal, Tori, it actually won't help you very much because your body isn't able to digest human meat the way that it should.
In history, where the great white shark consumed its entire victim,
weird,
as you will learn about shortly, although these cases are rare. In order to prevent an attack, avoid entering the water around dusk or dawn. Do not wear bright colors, as these are known to attract the beast. If you find yourself in a situation where there's a great white shark in close proximity, stay calm and keep an eye on it until you can leave the water. And if you find yourself under attack, you can defend yourself by attacking its eyes and gills, which are the most sensitive parts of his body.
Don't forget the nose.
Number 3. Shirley Durden. 1985. 33-year-old housewife Shirley Ann Durden is eaten alive by a great white shark in front of an entire crowd at Wiseman's Beach, Australia.
Could you imagine?
Shirley was recreationally snorkeling while at the same time scanning.
Even if you don't, that would be crazy. Panda, I'm wondering why you're doing this here and not like on a more popular stream. Like we have 17 people in here. And you can do what you want. But if you're trying to get your message out there, I feel like it would be better for you to do it somewhere else with more viewers.
Scallops. Her husband Barry, along with another friend Keith, had just finished accompanying Shirley and already moved closer to shore.
Could you imagine?
She was standing about 150 yards from shore in 6-foot shallow water when out of nowhere, a great white
6 feet
jerked
of
out
water?
of the water, biting off both her legs in the first
You're not even safe out there, bro. 6 feet of water.
The second round came nearly
tall.
seconds after.
That's not
this
deep.
time
Most
with
pools
the
are
shark
deeper than
consuming
that.
Shirley whole. Barry attempted to go back to save his wife but was held back by Keith.
The water's dangerous.
The families were waiting on shore and witnessed the entire incident as it occurred. Her husband yelled, "She's gone! She's gone!" After only a red pool remained in the same spot she stood just a minute ago.
Oh, that's crazy.
Retired fisherman Kevin Wiseman, who said he witnessed the whole attack, confirmed that it was a 19-foot-long great white. This was Australia's first case in which a shark ate a human whole instead of just taking a bite and swimming away.
That's a real man-eater, right? They do say that
Number
sharks
2,
like only bite to
Lewis
see
Boren.
if it's edible or what it is. But
December 19th, 1981. Surfer Lewis Boren is attacked by one of the biggest great white sharks ever recorded.
The shark's gonna eat you whole.
Boren was a kneeboard surfer who decided to take his board out to Asiloma State Beach near Monterey, California.
Oh, dang.
With waves as high as 15 feet tall, Boren swam out into the bay while his friends left him alone to go have lunch. But they never saw Boren again.
Okay.
His board wasn't discovered until the very next day, but with a giant chunk missing and some bloodstains on it. It wasn't until Christmas Eve that his body was finally discovered by a park ranger.
Christmas Eve.
The Monterey County Sheriff's Department stated that he had great trauma to the left side, from the armpit down to approximately the hip. After examinations, experts were able to tell from the size of the bite that the great white was around 20 feet long and weighed 2 tons, making it the second biggest great white ever discovered in the history of the California coast.
This is the second stream I've seen.
Coroner reports state that the shark approached Borum from the left side and ended up biting both the board and a chunk of his body, which was completely mangled in the wetsuit and caused him to die in the ocean. Lewis's death made headlines throughout the nation, even appearing on the cover of Rolling Stone's magazine for 1 month. So from where does the great white shark get its name? If you guessed A, you're right. The great white shark's white underbelly provides it the perfect camouflage from above, allowing it to blend in with the sky. Conversely, its dark back masks it from creatures above by making it appear as if the shark blends in with the rocks below. Number 1. Lloyd Skinner, 2010. An engineer named Lloyd Skinner is devoured in front of a crowd of holidaygoers at Cape Town's most popular beach. Skinner was 37 years old at the time and on vacation from Zimbabwe. While standing in the water to cool down from the 90-degree heat, the water around him began rippling. Towels were waved to get Skinner's attention and let him know something strange was happening. At that point, a great white shark swiftly pulled him under the waves. Then the water turned red. He was able to resurface, but it was only a few seconds later that the beast came back around and pulled him underwater once more. No one saw Skinner again after that last struggle. Eyewitness Greg Coppen, who saw the attack unfold step by step from his beachfront home, told news reporters, "We just saw a gigantic shark eat what looked like a person in front of our house. That shark was huge, like dinosaur huge." He further explained that it was this giant shadow. It sort of came out of the water and took this colorful lump and went off with it. You could see its whole jaw wrap around the thing, which turned out to be a person. Others recall it being as large as a
you
bus.
Want to win a great white? Where are you going to keep a great white?
Who were also present with
I want you to write out
after
a
witnessing
long
the
message.
event.
Take your time.
"We saw the shark come back twice,"
write me an essay,
said Phyllis
how
McCarthy
you would take care
of Sussex,
of and keep a
England.
great white shark.
It had the man's body in its mouth and its arm was in the air. Then the sea was full of blood, another tourist named Carl Johnston added. "We were about chest deep and he was deeper. We saw people waving towels at us. Then we looked further out to sea and saw what looked like blood and a man's legs come up." Authorities later circled the water in helicopters, hoping to find Lloyd Skinner's remains, but they were never to be found again.
Probably ate it all.
Thanks for watching.
Dude, alright, let's find another video by them. Most haunted waters of the world? Alright, Natasha, here you go. We'll do something crazy like that for you. Oh, mute that. Don't want that.
Today's video was requested by Strongboy. If you have any other topics you'd like to
If they
learn
don't have the
about,
Bermuda
subscribe and let us know
Triangle
in the
here,
comments
I'm gonna
section
stream.
below. Number 10. Devil's Pool, Australia. The Devil's Pool, a water formation at the top of Victoria Falls, is a gorgeous spot to swim at the edge of a massive cascade. It's also the place where more than 15 men have perished over the past 60 years.
That sounds like a
Legend
lot,
says,
but it's not. That's not a lot at all. Fun fact, another one, since I have so many of them. Did you know, I don't remember when it was a long time ago, but a dude went over Niagara Falls in a barrel and he lived, and he it was like big news, and he just wanted to do it to be on the news, but he went in a barrel, like a whiskey barrel, and went over the waterfall at Niagara Falls and lived, and he was fine. Mostly fine, I think. But that's crazy. It's crazy. People, like, the stuff people do is so wild.
15 men have perished over the past 60 years.
But 15 and 60 years.
Legend says all the deaths are the direct consequence of a woman's broken heart. Ulana was a beautiful woman, married to a tribe elder, who fell in love with a married man who convinced her to escape with him. They were captured, yet the lovers managed to break free and threw themselves in the Devil's Pool, where they're thought to have met a gruesome end after plummeting down the waterfall.
Kind of thing.
Those
Creators.
visitors brave enough to swim close to the edge claim they can hear Ulana's screams, even after all these years.
Dude,
Number 9.
that's creepy.
Great Salt Lake, Utah. Many years ago, a man by the name of Jean-Baptiste began robbing graves around Salt Lake City, taking the clothes and jewelry of the dead. He was incredibly prolific, opening over 300 graves and turning public opinion against him. They wanted him hanged, but his crimes weren't terrible enough to merit this punishment, so justice got created instead, forcing Jean to carry his crimes on his forehead. He was marked with the words "branded for robbing the dead," and his ears were cut off. To add insult to injury, Jean was taken to an abandoned island in the Great Salt Lake and left there to die alone.
That's a terrible thing to do to somebody.
His ghost is said to haunt the lake many decades after his death, a constant reminder of his gruesome punishment.
Official They Will Kill You merchandise is now available at theywillkillyou.com. Some of it is to die for.
Number 8. Lake Ronkonkoma, New York. New York appears in our list as well as a dangerous lady of the lake. This version, though, is far more deadly than the Texas legend. Many centuries ago in the 1600s,
wait, which one, though?
A Native American princess by the name of Tuscawanta and a white man called Hugh Birdsall fell madly in love.
Daniel.
Her father, though, didn't approve of their relationship and separated them for good. The lovers were kept apart by the length of the lake, and Tuscawanta tried sending messages to her lover by carving love letters on tree barks and throwing them into the lake. She hoped they'd reach Hugh, but she never heard from him again. Heartbroken, she rode to the middle of the Ronkonkoma Lake and killed herself, swearing to drown a man every single year.
What?
Through the centuries, many men, women, and even children have drowned in this ominous location. Visitors can't swim in the lake any longer because of algae bloom, so it seems the Lady of the Lake will have to go without victims for a while.
That's disgusting.
Number 7.
Daniel, I know where you live, bro. I know where.
Chuuk Lagoon, Micronesia. Chuuk Lagoon was the site of a massive battlefield toward the end of World War II between the Japanese and American forces in February 1944. Though it lasted as little as 2 days, the lagoon was still dubbed the biggest graveyard of ships in the world. It's estimated that around 250 Japanese planes and 50 ships were destroyed in this area, littering the lagoon's waters with corpses. For over 2 decades, this terrible spot was mostly forgotten by everybody but the natives inhabiting the surroundings. It wasn't until Jacques Cousteau's 1969 documentary that people began visiting the lagoon to scuba dive in its waters, retrieving bodies that had been long since forgotten. It's no wonder Chuuk Lagoon's visitors report countless sightings of ghosts over the years, given the number of soldiers who perished in its dark waters. Before we move on, answer this question.
All right, here we go.
Why are ghosts most commonly detected at night? Is it because A, they're easier cloaked by the darkness, B, they can move around more freely when humans are asleep, C, it's quieter and therefore easier to scare people, D, fewer electronic devices are in use?
What?
Number 6. Okaiku's Well, Japan. Okaiku's Well is hidden inside a massive, ancient castle in Japan's city of Himeji.
That place looks
It's
cool.
considered one of the Land of the Rising Sun's most haunted bodies of water, even if it's nowhere near as big as a river or even a pond. Legend says a young servant girl's beauty caught the eye of a samurai who happened to be married. Not wanting to become his mistress, she refused his advances. The samurai was furious about the rejection and threw her into the well, killing her horribly in the process.
That dude.
The girl's ghost remained on Earth, wanting to take revenge on the cruel samurai. She haunted him every single night until he went mad with fear. This legend loosely inspired the popular horror film Ringu, which in turn was remade as the American movie.
I've never seen that movie.
You'll probably never see a well the same way again. Number 5. Saco River, Maine.
Hey?
Maine is the home state of renowned horror novelist Stephen King, so it's no wonder it's also home to one of the world's most haunted rivers. The cursing of these waters dates back to 1675, when 3 white men abandoned their ship and boarded a small rowing boat. Being drunk and foolish, or perhaps even plain cruel, they noticed a Native American woman with her baby son riding a canoe. They stole the baby from his mother's arms and threw it in.
I feel like it's just normal, which is so bad, that if they're gonna start naming, like, they could have just said 3 men, but as soon as they said 3 white men, I knew it was gonna be something bad. We gotta do better, man. We gotta That guy's gotta stop being bad, bro.
They noticed a Native American woman with her baby son riding a canoe. They stole the baby from his mother's arms and threw it in the water, believing he'd be able to swim.
Why?
Though the woman jumped into the river to save her son, the baby ended up dying a week later as a consequence of the sailors' horrible actions. The dead boy's father, chief of the local tribe, cursed the river in retaliation, beaconing water spirits to steal the lives of 3 white men every year. Number 4, White Rock Lake, Texas.
Oh,
the White Rock Lake became a tourist attraction back in 1911.
Let's go.
An idyllic location for people to hike, enjoy a picnic by the water, go fishing, or even host an event in the park surrounding it. Though it's a beautiful place, visitors should be cautious not to run into the lady of the lake. She's said to be a young woman who was either involved in a fatal accident, a murder victim, or who took her own life.
Me and my fiance are gonna
the
go
lady
here.
sometimes appears clad in a nightgown, though she's also been seen wearing a wedding dress. She always asks for a ride near the White Rock Lake, soaking wet and looking sad and desperate. This ghost sobs silently during the ride, usually sitting on the back seat of those foolish enough to offer her a ride. By the time the driver arrives at the destination she asked to be taken to,
you can come. We'll all go together.
I don't know about you, but I'm getting pretty...
Nope. Dude, how is everybody? Talk to me.
the young woman is nowhere to be seen, having disappeared into thin
what's up,
air.
bro?
So far it seems the lady isn't dangerous, just plain creepy. But would you really want to risk it? Number 3. Blackwater River, Florida. Florida might be the Sunshine State, but there's nothing bright and sunny about the Blackwater River. Even its name's ominous. Residents in the area warn visitors to think twice before dipping into its dark waters. They've regularly noticed a pale woman with long black hair lurking around the riverside. The woman smells of rotting flesh and will try to drown unsuspecting victims, dragging them toward the depths of the river with evil
Dude, my face
intentions.
is frozen. I'm sorry.
Locals have tried to explain the reason behind this ghost's cruel ways. Apparently, the state park the river runs through was the location of a brutal ritual which resulted in the death of a young woman dressed in a white gown. If you ever choose to visit the Blackwater River and notice a pale-looking young lady clad all in white, don't get in the water or look at her in the eyes. Just run the other way, and you should be safe. So why are ghosts most commonly detected at night? If you guessed D, you're right. Since fewer electronic devices are in use in the middle of the night, it's easier for EMF meters to pick up on fluctuations in electromagnetic fields.
I don't know how to feel about
Number
that.
2, Queen Mary Hotel's swimming pool, California. Once an ocean liner, it was transformed into a hotel back in the 60s.
Jared,
the Queen
that's
Mary
creepy,
might be
bro.
among the most haunted inns in America.
What's up, Tikis?
Its first-class swimming pool may very well be completely ghost-infected. It's said that 2 women drowned in the pool while the ship was still sailing across the North Atlantic between 1930 and 1960. Most guests seem to agree there are a couple of frequent spirits roaming the poolside. An
That's
older
good,
woman
Angelic.
and a
I'm
kid
glad,
named
bro.
Jackie. Jackie loves to play
Tikis.
hide and seek with the
How
guests,
are you, man?
but
How
only
are
at
you?
night. Some people
Jared,
even
that's
claim
creepy,
they've
dude.
noticed wet footprints appearing out of nowhere
I've heard
at the
that.
edge of
I've
the
had a
pool.
lot of places.
Number 1, Hessian Lake, New York. It's no
New
wonder
York has
Hessian
lots of
Lake is
lakes.
thought to be haunted. It might look like a beautiful body of water resting at the base of a grand mountain, but there's much more to it than meets the eye. During the Revolutionary War, this was the site of a great battle where British and German armies joined efforts to defeat the American revolutionaries. Hessian was the name given to the soldiers who aided the British forces in their war against the new nation. Over 250 Hessians died during this battle, and their bloody bodies rolled onto the lake, tainting its water red. This led the area to be dubbed the Bloody Lake. Another curious detail about the Hessian Lake is that it's located not far from the town of Sleepy Hollow, where the author Washington Irving wrote the horror story centered around Ichabod Crane and the Headless Horseman.
Yeah.
People who frequent the lake claim they've often seen Hessian soldiers walking around the shore in the dead of night, sometimes
creepy.
missing several limbs and staring at them with glowing red eyes. Thanks for watching. Would you rather encounter a ghost while canoeing in the middle of a lake at night, or wake up next to a tarantula crawling on your bed?
I'd rather wake up next to a tarantula. Alright, let's find another one. Let me look on their channel.
Hey guys, I'm Angelo, producer of They Will Kill.
Let's see what they got. Natasha, thank you. Appreciate it. I try. My hair is actually not that healthy though. It really bugs. You know who has some nice hair too though is Bursting. Bursting has really nice hair. If you die, you'll hunt juice haters if you're a ghost. Alright, let's watch 13 craziest animal home break-ins. That sounds fun. Smart. My favorite artist this year? Dude, I'm not gonna lie.
But 30.
Rez Coast Grizz is making some moves, and I'm really vibing with his music lately. You may not know who that is, but he's really, really good. He gives me a lot of Juice WRLD vibes, a lot of like just that kind of style. But he's a really good writer. He comes from a really kind of crazy lifestyle. I haven't talked to him yet. I think I will eventually. I'd love to have him on my podcast, but he's been kind of growing really fast and doing really well. It's cryptic. You never know, dude.
Montana Bear.
He just wants 250.
Wildlife officers responding to a call in Missoula County, Montana, discovered a situation that eerily resembled the Goldilocks fairy tale. Homeowners in Butler Creek had made a call after finding a black bear sleeping in their closet. The animal had entered the home and somehow managed to lock the deadbolt once inside.
No.
It then climbed on a closet shelf and took a nap.
What?
Black bears are strong beasts and exceptional climbers. Even though they're fully capable of killing adult humans, attacks are rare and usually motivated by hunger. When wildlife officers arrived at the scene, they tried to get the bear to leave by banging on a window. Their efforts were met with disinterest by the animal that reportedly simply stretched and yawned. It was ultimately tranquilized and removed from the home for relocation. Number 12. Queensland Python. A homeowner from Queensland, Australia, was forced to confront what some people would probably describe as their greatest fear. The elderly man, whose name wasn't released, lifted the toilet seat and found a python coiled inside the bowl. He immediately contacted a snake removal firm and was told that the serpent had most likely made its way through an unsealed drain pipe. By the time a snake catcher arrived to his home, the python had already disappeared inside the pipe. The homeowner told a media outlet he'd avoid using the toilet until the matter was resolved. Number 11. California Bear.
What? What's up, Chromosome? So is he just not going to use the bathroom, or is he just going to like go outside? What? How is it any safer going to the bathroom outside if pythons live there in the first place? Manson reincarnated as a bear? Dude, could you imagine just you go in your room and there's a bear in your closet and he's not even trying to do anything. He just wants to sleep, enjoy the air conditioning, vibe to some Juice WRLD.
Bears have a big appetite and an outstanding sense of smell, which sometimes guides them into encounters with humans. In this case, a bear broke into a California home and started raiding a family's fridge. It ate 2 pints of Ben & Jerry's ice cream, as well as leftover taco meat. 2 teenage boys were inside the house at the time.
Okay, first of all, what kind of bear breaks into your house and eats your ice cream? Second of all, who says taco? Taco meat. He ate a bunch of taco meat. It's not taco.
Ben & Jerry's ice cream, as well as leftover taco meat.
Ooh.
2 teenage boys were inside the house at the time. After calling 911, they quietly sat in the bedroom, as instructed by the officers. Their resolve was tested when, presumably looking for a way out, the bear tried to break inside the room. They managed to hold the door as the animal clawed at it, and thus avoided a confrontation. They'd subsequently described the incident as the scariest moment of their life. but both emerged
That's
unscathed.
crazy.
A wildlife officer arrived at the scene and opened the front door so that the animal could get out. The bear paused in the driveway, but returned to the forest after the officer fired a warning shot.
Yeah, after he ate ice
Number
cream
10,
and tacos.
Florida alligator. Crocodilians are among the scariest creatures in the animal kingdom, and alligators
Did you
are
see
no
that
exception.
green screen work right there? I was about to say, like, whoa, that dude's got his hand inside of an alligator mouth, and like people do that for real, like performers. But look, this is literally green screened in.
Scariest creatures in the animal kingdom, and alligators are no exception. They're
bear's
outstanding
you?
predators with a bite that can easily tear through flesh and break bones.
The bear ate 2 pints of Ben & Jerry's ice cream. It's me. I'm the bear.
In the animal kingdom, and alligators are no exception. They're outstanding predators with a bite that can easily tear through flesh and break bones.
Where in
One
Florida
Florida
do you find an
resident
alligator
got the
eating that?
fright of her life after discovering an 11-foot
Jared, for
alligator
sure, bro.
in
I
her
definitely
kitchen.
wanna do more of
At
those.
around 3 a.m., the massive reptile
That was an ugly alligator rendering. I've always wanted to wrestle an alligator. Always. I still want to one day. That's one of my dreams. Not like wrestle it, but like handle one, you know? Like the professionals do. The bears want Ben & Jerry's ice cream. They know exactly what they want. You're right. They ate it once, but that's how they hunt bears. If you didn't know that, the way that you hunt bears is you don't put out like regular bait for them, and you don't go find them out in the wild. You actually just put out like snacks and stuff for them. I know this sounds really stupid, but this is legit how they do it. They'll find, maybe it's the same place or maybe it's a different place, but like for deer and stuff, you put out a feeder and it throws corn, and the deer eat the corn. But for bears, they put out a lot of sweets and like a lot of human food, and the bears love it. And so then they go and then they're there eating, and then you kill them. That's how people hunt bears. So bears do like that stuff a lot.
in her kitchen. At around 3 a.m., the massive reptile broke into her Clearwater home through a low window. Startled by the noise, the woman went to check it out. That's when she saw the massive beast in her kitchen, flashing its teeth. It had damaged the walls, smashed wine bottles, and broken the kitchen table. The police and wildlife authorities were successful in removing the unwanted overnight visitor, and no injuries were reported. Number 9.
Hold on, guys. My camera's being stupid. Give me a second. It does that. It gets kind of tired, I guess. It can't record for a super long time. Seizure warning. Seizure alert. There we go. Alright, we're back. That's my bad. Have I ever
Brisbane
heard of
python
Christ
and
Fellowship?
spider. Australian wildlife has earned a fearsome reputation from the many dangerous creatures it encompasses. In fact, it's a rather common internet trope that everything in Australia is trying to kill you.
That's true.
One
No,
Brisbane
it's not a
man
trope.
can
It's
attest
true.
to the stereotype after he found 2 of the country's most dreaded creatures inside his home
What?
and in close
At
proximity.
the same time, they're
Reddit
just chilling.
user uploaded a picture of
What?
a huntsman spider stuck to a wall, only a few inches above a massive carpet python. Some
What?
users commented that the homeowner should let them fight, while others encouraged him to evacuate.
They're betting on it. Dude, the internet does not have any empathy at all. We just make a joke.
It's
out of
worth mentioning that
everything.
despite their rather alarming appearance, both creatures are relatively harmless. Number 8.
They broke into his
Assam
home.
tiger.
How harmless is it?
As human territories expand into animal ranges, encounters have been reported more frequently in various parts of India. These can sometimes turn violent, as the country is home to leopards, tigers, and several aggressive bear
Big
species.
cats are the scariest.
While
I
this
think.
next break-in ended peacefully, the consequences could have been dire.
Big
That's
cats
because
are
it
the
involved a
scariest.
Bengal tiger, one of nature's most skilled and ruthless predators. The animal sought refuge from monsoon floods in a garage outside Kaziranga National Park in the state of Assam. Exhausted, the adult tigress fell asleep on a bed and was initially undisturbed by the homeowners.
Just
Through a
chilling.
crack in the wall, they filmed the animal as it rested with its head on its
Why not? Let them just hang out there. Let them sleep, relax, all that stuff. Why not?
After wildlife officers arrived at the scene, the road was blocked and firecrackers were set off in order to wake the tigress up. The animal promptly left the property and retreated to the forest. Number 7. New Zealand seal.
That wasn't dangerous though, or crazy.
While some animal home break-ins are potentially deadly, others are just very
I used to have a
unusual.
wolf.
By
like
her
98%.
own
You
admission,
got it tested.
New Zealander
She's
Annette
98%
Swaffer
wolf.
thought she was hallucinated upon seeing the
Grey
animal
wolf.
visitor on her couch. That's because staring back at her with a pair of big brown eyes was a baby seal.
That's
To get to the woman's
adorable.
home, the animal had wandered a long way from its natural.
Isn't there a Tom and Jerry episode like that? Pretty sure it's the same thing. But if that came into your house, that's like a gift. Like, that's just a pet now. Keep it.
woman's home, the
Hey,
animal
yeah,
had
we
wandered
just hit 40K, dude. Thank you. I'm super excited about that.
a long way from its natural habitat. It had gone from the waterfront across busy roads and a residential neighborhood. The baby seal then entered the house through a cat door and climbed a flight of
What?
stairs before finally napping on Swaffer's couch.
Dude, animals just
The
don't
woman
care.
contacted the Department of Conservation, where staff had actually been looking for the animal. It had likely just been weaned from its mother and had been left alone as it looked for food.
Aw.
A spokesperson for the department noted that seals can carry diseases and may injure humans, so the proper course of action is to contact wildlife authorities. Number 6.
Hey,
Queensland
he may
cassowary.
be yet little and young, but he's
Cassowaries
brave.
are by all accounts the most dangerous birds in the world. To attack
What?
potential threats, they rely on their powerful kicks. One of their toes is modified into a dagger-like claw that can
Dude, let me tell
easily
you.
disembowel a
Let me tell you, big birds like that. We have ostriches at my grandpa's house, and I was raised there, and it was like a farm, but he had a bunch of ostriches, and their feet are like dinosaur feet, and they'll kick you and they'll kill you because their nails will literally like disembowel you, and your guts will be falling out. And big bird, I don't like birds in general. I hate owls. Owls scare me. Big birds, I'm not too scared of because I grew up around them, but they'll kill you.
in the world.
It's quick
To
too.
attack
And they
potential
run, they run like 40-45 miles an hour. You can't get away from these things.
threats, they rely on their powerful kicks. One of their toes is modified into a dagger-like claw that can easily disembowel a human being. A cassowary named Peanut
How
would
is that
often pass
same?
through the
What?
backyard of property owned by Peter and Sue Leach in Cairns, Australia. The couple
You
was
guys are funny,
familiar with
dude.
the bird and didn't mind the wild animal feasting on the berries from their garden from time to time.
No, I
Yet,
would
in
mind.
April of 2016, Peanut went farther than ever. As
No
Sue was
way.
preparing dinner, she walked in to find the cassowary in the middle of her dining room.
Chickens and
aware
stuff,
of how
I don't really care because I grew up around them. I raised chickens like for school. But other birds that fly, owls, eagles, those things freak me out. I don't like them, especially like big owls. I don't like that at all. Well, I'm gonna assume that
Become,
you ate him.
the woman ran out of the house and went in the garage.
Dude, he just
Her
went in her
husband
house.
hid behind a table and took a few
What?
pictures of Peanut.
Dude,
After
he
several
was
minutes,
legit
the
in her
cassowary
house.
walked out the front door and no one was harmed in the surprising
He just wanted to
encounter.
know what was up.
Number 5. Zimbabwe hyenas. Within the incredibly diverse
rooster.
African wilderness,
Have you
there's
seen how
fierce
they make
competition
roosters
among
fight, dude?
dangerous predators such lions, crocodiles, leopards, cheetahs,
Crocodiles.
and hyenas. Since the
Crocodiles are more
continent is home
dangerous
to
than
more species of
alligators.
megafauna than any other place on Earth,
Hyenas.
its territory
Hyenas are
and hunting
dangerous, dude.
grounds are constantly under dispute. Sometimes, predatory packs will pursue their victims
Look at
into
that,
areas
bro.
inhabited by humans.
How much money
That's
that would
what
be at a
happened
steakhouse?
in June of 2018 at a luxury safari lodge in Zimbabwe. A pack of at least 14 hyenas chased a kudu bull
No.
and killed it in the lodge's reception area.
What? Wait. What? What? Could you imagine? Dude, what? Did he say 40? Just imagine. Just imagine you're chilling at a, like, you know, you've seen the videos where they're like on the safari drives and like stuff chases them or whatever. But imagine you're nice and safe at your lodge. You're just relaxing. You're on vacation. This is something you've always wanted to do. You're there. You're relaxed. You're checking in. You've got your bags there.
In June of 2018 at a luxury safari lodge in Zimbabwe.
You're just chilling,
a pack
checking
of
in.
at least 14 hyenas
14.
chased a kudu bull and killed it in the lodge's reception area.
What?
CCTV cameras captured the attack, and the predators retreated, most likely upon hearing the armed staff approaching.
Are you
The check-in
kidding
area
me?
in the hunt's aftermath was a sight fit for a horror movie.
Look at that. What the heck? Tanzan Fung. It's interesting. Very interesting. John Watkins. I inspired you to get over your addiction. You're still trying. Bro, keep going, man. Don't give up. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of all you guys that overcome your obstacles and things you deal with. That's super cool. Definitely proud of you. What's up, Julian? Peep this, dude.
Approaching. The check-in area in the hunt's aftermath was a sight fit for a horror movie.
Bro, could you imagine?
The antelope's savage corpse was left
Christian,
in
I've
a
never
pool
heard
of
of
blood,
that. I want
with
you to
its
tell me what
twisted
it is.
horns still intact, and bloody hyena paw prints covered the floor.
Dude.
Number 4.
I
Mumbai
can't.
leopard.
That should have been number 1.
Residents of a Mumbai suburb were understandably
14
terrified
hyenas.
when news emerged that a leopard had broken into a residential building. The feline wandered into the lobby of a Maluland housing complex and snatched a pet dog. The attack was captured by security cameras. The canine was sleeping at the time and oblivious to the fact that a vicious predator
jerk,
was
dude.
creeping towards it. The leopard's swift and unforgiving attack was
rude.
over in a matter of seconds. The pet fruitlessly struck.
Bro, I don't know why my camera... After this video, we're gonna be done probably, because it wants to be stupid. Hit me up if you want to buy me a Canon M50 for the channel. If you want to buy one of those, definitely would appreciate it. It's only like $700. It's not really that much. So if you just want to donate one or buy it, feel free. Come on, man. There we go. Alright. We fixed it. Sorry, guys. This is... Look, we run this YouTube channel on a budget, okay? We run it on a budget. What am I selling? Why?
Struggled against the predator's powerful grip. It was...
That's messed up, dude. What a jerk. John Watkins, girl with the blonde hair. I'll have to do it. You're not the first person to ask, so I'll definitely be doing that soon.
Mumbai streets where it was presumably eaten. The ultimate fate of the attacking leopard remains unknown. Number 3. Mengai elephants. A report of an elephant raid in the Chinese county of Mengai emerged in the early spring of 2020. The information was limited, but it seemed to be centered on a herd of over a dozen animals.
Bro, there are no YouTube checks anymore. I got like 1, and now we're back to 0.
2020. The information was limited, but it seemed to be centered on a herd of over a dozen animals that raided a town. The Asian elephants broke into 2 homes, as well as a grain alcohol store. They damaged the vats and, according to some villagers, got drunk and started behaving
Julian,
erratically.
don't give up, bro.
Luckily, none of the residents were hurt by the
You gotta
ransacking
keep working
animals.
at it now. You gotta keep trying.
Number 2.
Did you know
Camels in Australia.
there's stories of elephants, like African elephants, where they were poaching them, and the elephants were mad about it. And elephants are smart creatures, right? Very smart, like extremely smart. Like they think that they're on the level of like 2 or 3 year olds as far as us. Like they're on that level. You know, they can paint pictures and play music and communicate and all kinds of stuff. But the elephants were being poached by this village. And so the elephants were angry about it. And so the elephants would go and use their trunks to knock on the doors. And the people would think that it was people. And then the people would open the door and the elephant would get them and kill them. This is true. It's crazy, but it's true.
The residents were hurt by the ransacking animals. Number 2. camels in
Rockstar
Australia.
in his prime, I did it. That was
In
the
2009,
one video
a small
that
town
copyright
in the
claim
Australian
got taken
outback
down.
was gripped by
really
terror
good video.
as thousands of camels invaded. As temperatures in central parts of the country sweltered, the animals were desperately searching for water. Some placed the total number of camels as high as 6,000. Residents of the remote Docker River, home to about 350 people, became too afraid to leave their homes. And children faced the risk of being trampled to death. Some of the camels actually broke inside residences or caused structural damage on the outside.
Dude.
They destroyed roads and clustered on the local airstrip.
How do
the latter
camels destroy
was a
roads?
significant issue as medical evacuations became impossible. The government determined that since the animals were so numerous, a massive culling was the only way to deal with them. As such, helicopters loaded with marksmen were sent to the region.
They got in helicopters.
Number one.
No.
As medical
There's
evacuations became impossible, the government determined that since the animals were so numerous, a massive culling was the only way to deal with them. As such, helicopters loaded with marksmen were sent to the region.
No.
Number one.
The government decided to identify as an attack chopper and go hunting for camels.
Number one. Botswana hippo. By some estimates, every year hippos are responsible for thousands of human deaths in Africa. There's basically nothing that an unarmed human can do against a hippo, since the enormous beast's jaws are strong enough to crush crocodilians. So naturally, finding one on your property is a nightmarish scenario.
Hippos will kill you. Hippos are the leading cause of death compared to a lot of animals.
Brent Reed had to deal with such a situation when he found a 3-ton hippo in the swimming pool of his Botswana home.
What?
It happened on December the 31st of 2019, and Reed's youngest son joked that they were having a hippo New Year. Reed believed that the massive male had entered his 6-foot deep pool, seeking to cool off as the region had been experiencing an unusually hot and dry season. Thankfully, it showed no signs of aggression. Reed called the wildlife authorities as he didn't think the hippo could get out. Yet, at 2 a.m. on January the 1st, he saw the animal grazing outside his bedroom. It was a harmless visit, but the cleanup operation for the pool did involve removing about 220 pounds of dung.
What?
Thanks for watching.
220 pounds. That's more than most of you weigh. Cryptic, have a good night, bro. Stay on your studies. Do a good job in school. Let me know if you guys want me to do one more. If you guys want to stop, tell me. I have 12 animals you didn't know were toxic, when cage diving goes wrong, or world's most terrifying fish, or when animals turn against their keepers, or when rats attack, or when camping goes wrong, or in 10 ways which space can kill you. Let me know. Or we can just be done. I can't do Juice WRLD right now, but I will do that one soon. I have been planning on that one. 10 of the strangest mental disorders. Let me know. Because we have 25 people in here. 23. That's on the higher end of it. BC for sure, bro. I definitely will. Not when cave diving, when cage diving. Cave diving would be an interesting video, though. I will pray for her, bro. Definitely. Alright, Tikis.
I just wanted to show you the USCCA's free.
A link to the Discord. Either Bursting can drop it, or it might just drop in the might be in the description. All right, we're doing one more, and then we'll stop. Give me a second. The camera will come back on. Just wait 1 second. There we go. All right. We'll do one more. For sure, bursting, I will. Alright, we'll do this last one. It's 13 minutes. We may not
Bethany
do it.
Lynn Stevens.
We'll do some.
In February of 2018, Virginia woman Bethany Lynn Stevens was viciously mauled to death by her 2 pet pit bulls. The 22-year-old's body was discovered by her father in a wooded area, not far from his Goochland home. She had been missing for 2 days after taking the pit bulls, Tonka and Pac-Man, for a walk. The man said the dogs were aggressively guarding his daughter's remains and that he couldn't get past them. Officers were called to the scene and subsequently described the gruesome discovery. The corpse had been torn to pieces and the pit bulls were still chewing on Stevens' ribs. There were puncture marks on her skull and traumatic injuries to her throat and face.
How?
The county sheriff claimed he hadn't seen anything like it in nearly 40 years of law enforcement.
No way.
While some of the young woman's relatives suspected foul play, the coroner ruled it out. Defensive wounds were found on her arms and hands from trying to push back the attacking dogs.
What the heck, dude?
It's believed that the pit bulls, which were in her father's care, had been underfed and isolated. The stress is thought to have caused them to turn on Stevens. With the family's consent, both pit bulls were euthanized. Number 9, Marius Els. The hippopotamus is one of Africa's most dangerous animals. By some estimates, the aggressive and unpredictable hippo kills more human beings than any other creature on the continent. It's a massive beast with a brutal bite which, despite its size, can sprint at 20 miles per hour. Needless to say that such formidable forces of nature wouldn't make good pets. South African farmer Marius Els took his chances and raised a hippo ever since the animal was 5 months old.
The strobe light party was just
Els
for you.
once claimed that Humphrey was like a son to him and even had a lake built for the hippo.
What?
He was proud of having developed a relationship with Africa's most dangerous animal. Els would take rides on the back of the 2,700-pound beast. He
The
did
hippo
note
turned into a
that Humphrey
Pokemon,
had an
dude.
aggressive side and would sometimes throw him off. The hippo on one occasion even tried to attack 2 canoers. Then in November 2011, Els became his pet's victim in a grisly attack. Its exact circumstances are unknown, but it concluded with Humphrey brutally biting into his keeper's body. A hippo's jaws are strong enough to break a crocodile in half, so there was nothing that Els could do against the massive beast.
No way, dude.
His mangled remains were discovered submerged in a river that ran through the 400-acre property.
They're territorial.
Number
They're
8.
very aggressive.
Kellyanne
They'll
Waltz.
just kill you.
Kellyanne Waltz from Pennsylvania owned several
Dude, exotic pets are dangerous. Do you guys watch Chandler's Wildlife? If you don't watch him, go watch him because he's crazy. He's very, very interesting. He puts out
exotic
really good
pets
content.
capable of taking her life within seconds. Throughout the years, her hilltop menagerie housed a tiger, a mountain lion, a jaguar, and a black bear named Teddy, whom she'd raised since he was a cub. One tragic Sunday in October of 2009, Waltz was cleaning Teddy's cage in the same manner she always would. The woman tossed a shovel full of dog food to one side of the cage to keep Teddy busy as she tended to the cage. The 350-pound bear suddenly attacked Waltz, biting her repeatedly and ripping into her body with its claws. The attack was witnessed by her young children and the children of neighbor Scott Castone. As they started screaming, Castone arrived to find the bear atop Waltz. He shot and killed the beast with his handgun, but by that time, the woman had already sustained fatal damage.
What is this edit?
Number 7.
Dude, could you
Marvin
imagine
Hoyush. When talking about the world's deadliest birds, most of us tend to think about
I don't want to
eagles.
watch this one. I hate eagles. I hate birds, dude. I hate birds. Let's just skip this one.
Falcons, or giant owls. In fact, the title of world's most
Giant owls too? No, what did I just say, dude? They're listening to me.
The woman had already sustained fatal
That's
damage.
why it's in my recommended. Google was listening.
Number 7. Marvin Hoyush. When talking about the world's deadliest birds, most of us tend to think about eagles, falcons, or giant owls. In fact, the title of world's most dangerous bird belongs to the flightless cassowary. It stands up to 6 foot 6 inches tall and weighs over 130 pounds. It's not only a giant, but one of its toes features a dagger-like claw of nearly 5 inches. Cassowaries can release powerful kicks and inflict lethal damage with their claws. Even though the risks of owning a cassowary are well known, Florida man Marvin Hayush decided that they'd make good pets. Moreover, he believed that breeding them would provide a lucrative business opportunity.
Dude, this dang camera, bro. This camera's so stupid. I'm gonna have to buy a new one, huh? That's just the point we're getting to. But maybe I'll set up my webcam as like a backup. You know? Yeah, it doesn't want to work. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry, guys. Next time, I'll have my webcam set up just in case this happens. Give it a sec. There we go. No? Yeah, there we go. Alright. My bad, guys.
He kept the prehistoric-looking birds in separate pens and would periodically check their enclosures for eggs. It would eventually prove to be a fatal habit. One aggressive female cassowary saw that Hayush was going for her eggs and attacked him.
Oh,
the hulking bird.
Bad move, bro. She didn't want you to get those eggs.
Bird swiftly brought down the 75-year-old with a powerful leg strike. He was found slumped over between the cassowary enclosures. Paramedics were called to the scene and were careful in approaching Hayush as the cassowary was still aggressive. The elderly man succumbed to his injuries while at the hospital.
Poor guy. He just wanted to
Number
take care of
6.
him.
Mary Matthews. When Dale Matthews arrived to his home in Waynesville, Ohio, he opened the door to a horrifying scene. His wife, Mary Matthews, had been brutally killed by the family's 2 Great Danes.
That's the worst.
The woman had been...
Because you get a dog to be like part of your family, right? You get a dog to love you and to take care of you. Good night, Julian. Send me a DM on Instagram, dude. We can talk. You get a dog to protect your home and to keep you safe, and because you love it, and it's gonna sleep in your bed and sit on your couch, and then it kills you. You come home and you find your wife dead. Oh, I'd be so...
been left alone
so
with the dogs
broken.
after her husband was taken to jail a few days prior. It's unclear for how long she'd been dead. The police described her as having an alcohol addiction, and prescription medication was found at the scene. A heavily blood-stained baseball bat was also discovered, along with bloody towels, several changes of clothes, and a pair of sweatpants with numerous puncture marks.
Nah.
There was blood on...
Nah. See, that's sus. Because if there's multiple changes of clothes and blood, no telling if it's your blood or the dog's blood. But that's already at the point where you know you need to go to the hospital if it's you and you chose not to. Then there's something sus, right?
Hands with numerous puncture marks. There was blood on the steps, couch, and even the walls of the home. Matthew's legs were riddled with wounds and a chunk of her ankle was missing. The evidence suggested that after being mauled, she was able to fend off the dogs and get them outside. However, in her altered state of mind, the woman didn't realize the severity of her injuries. Instead of immediately calling the emergency services, Matthews likely tried handling things herself and succumbed to blood loss. The Great Danes may have turned on their owner due to the stress of their living conditions. They were reportedly underfed and mistreated, as the house's deck was completely covered in dog feces.
Yeah, dude, you gotta
Number
take
5,
care of your
Klaus
animals.
Redant.
That's your own fault.
At his Indiana farm, Klaus Redant owned several animals that aren't native to North America, including llamas, emus, and ostriches. He was also the keeper of a wildebeest family, formed by a male.
That's no wildebeest.
A female and their cub, also known as gnu antelopes. These animals inhabit the African continent. In the wild, they're preyed on by hyenas, lions, cheetahs, and crocodiles. This doesn't mean that these creatures are easy prey. They weigh several hundred pounds and possess large curved horns. Redant's wildebeest had had their horns removed, but that failed to make them less dangerous. The Indiana farmer was eventually attacked and trampled to death by the wildebeest patriarch. The 500-pound male first delivered a brutal headbutt and then stomped on his keeper. Emergency workers arrived at the farm but couldn't revive Redant. The official cause of death would be ruled as blunt force trauma to the head and chest. It's still unclear why the man had been charged by the animal so brutally. One theory is that the attack had occurred during the wildebeest mating season, a time when these animals become more aggressive. It's possible that the male didn't like the fact that Redant was in the proximity of his mate and saw him as a threat to be eliminated.
What a simp.
Number 4. Alexandria Hall. Alexandria Hall's neighbors knew that she had pets, such as birds and rabbits, in her Cincinnati home. What they didn't know was that she was also an avid collector of reptiles, including several poisonous snakes.
Well, this is a
44-year-old Hall was ultimately bitten by one of the serpents, which was later identified as an Urutu pit viper.
Okay, if you're talking about pit vipers, why are you showing me pythons that are not
they didn't
venomous?
Was that she
poisonous.
was also an avid.
Poisonous is if you eat it, it makes you sick and you die. Venomous is if it bites you and you die.
Collector of reptiles, including several poisonous snakes. 44-year-old Hall was ultimately bitten by one of the serpents, which was later identified as an Urutu pit viper. According to her neighbors, the woman drove herself to the hospital.
Venomous snakes.
The police were surprised that she'd managed to arrive at the emergency room on her own. Unfortunately, she ultimately succumbed to envenomation. The police went to check her house alongside reptile experts from Cincinnati Zoo and Botanical Gardens. They found the deadly serpents secured in plastic containers, while non-venomous reptiles were free, roaming around the residence.
No, gross.
Number 3.
That's disgusting. I mean, I get, like, keeping snakes. No, I don't think so, BC. I think that story is true in the Bible, but I don't think that makes all snakes evil. And I don't think there's any evidence to think that snakes are evil. Snakes are pets. People love to have snakes, and that's fine, you know? But, dude, to let snakes just be around your house, that's gross. That's not somebody taking care of the animals either.
One man was killed and his son was hospitalized after they were attacked by a southern pig-tailed macaque in Malaysia. 72-year-old Muhammad Ngar had been training the monkey to go up trees and fetch him coconuts. In fact, there are schools in Malaysia which train monkeys specifically to retrieve the fruit as a boost to local economy. It's a century-old practice that begins with creating an interest for coconuts in young monkeys and then teaching them movement and verbal commands. The speculation is that Ngar's monkey was slightly too old to train. The macaque attacked its keeper, biting his wrist. In doing so, the animal tore through a major artery, causing the victim to bleed to death.
You're from Malaysia?
Ngar's son, Maud Zachariah, went to check on him.
Do you see all
Upon
the
seeing
monkeys?
his father lying on the ground, he was attacked as well. His terrified screams were heard by a passerby who came to his aid.
Dude, this camera
Maud
is
Zachariah
blowing
was
the
reportedly
heck
bitten
out.
on the neck, but ultimately recovered from his injuries.
It's making me so mad. This is why I hate... I don't know. I'm just gonna have to set up my webcam. It works good for, like, videos, but once I start live streaming, I don't know if it overheats or what. It might be an overheating issue, because this camera can't really film longer than 30 minutes on, like, a battery. So that could definitely possibly be what it is. Anyways, alright, we're back. We're almost done.
Wildlife authorities were called and they managed to tranquilize and capture the rampaging monkey.
Okay, yeah, Tiki's.
Number two,
that's
Pam Weaver.
A view that I've heard a lot is that he took on the
For her 60th birthday,
really
Noel Weaver gifted his wife Pam with a camel. The Australian couple had raised other uncommon pets on their property, including emus and kangaroos. Before long, the young camel became difficult to control despite having developed a close relationship with its keeper.
Thanks, bro.
It behaved erratically and at one point reportedly tried to mate with one of the goats on the property. Then in 2007,
what? Okay, what?
It's on their property, including emus and kangaroos.
Got a camel.
Before long, the young camel became difficult to control despite having developed a close relationship with its keeper.
Okay.
It behaved erratically and at one point reportedly tried to mate with one of the goats on the property.
Bro.
Then in 2007, the animal was wandering loose in the backyard.
This camel is obviously just sexually frustrated. He doesn't have a girlfriend.
Reportedly tried to mate with one of the goats on the property.
He's walking around.
Then in 2007, the animal was wandering loose in the backyard while Pam Weaver was making dinner. She went to check on her camel and was fatally injured. It was subsequently reported that the camel had no intention of hurting the woman. Some animal experts argued that it might have been trying to mate with her. Nevertheless, the woman's
It's trying to mate with her. Well, if you're not gonna let me get it on with the goat, lady.
Under the 330-pound weight. Her husband.
So a simp. My favorite animal? I don't know, man. Maybe. I really don't know. Let me think about it. Let me think.
That it might have been trying to mate with her. Nevertheless, the woman's body was crushed under the 330-pound weight. Her husband found her lifeless body and noticed hoof marks on her face and arms.
Dang.
The family decided not to kill the 10-month-old camel and saw what had happened as a tragic accident.
Before we continue, official They Will Kill You merchandise is now available at theywillkillyou.com.
It's not that hard.
Stop clowning around and check it out, because your purchases really help support the channel.
Dude, I'm gonna buy some of them right
Number one, Antoine Yates. For a few years leading up to October of 2003, there were rumors that a tiger was living in Harlem, in New York's Manhattan borough. Most of the locals, however, believed it to be nothing more than an urban legend. Then in late September, Antoine Yates arrived at the emergency room of the Harlem Hospital Center with deep bites on his arm and leg.
What?
The 31-year-old claimed they'd been inflicted by his pet pit bull.
No.
The sheer width of the bite marks suggested much larger jaws.
That's cat.
Yates checked out of the hospital on October the 3rd, the same day that officers from the NYPD approached his apartment while following up on a tip.
Okay, you're not
They heard loud growls coming from inside the 5-bedroom home residence and decided not to enter
Hamsters
it.
are definitely cool.
The police drilled a hole through the wall and used a camera to look inside as one officer
I've heard about
repelled
stories
from
like
the roof.
this. I don't know if it was the same one, but it was at like a camp or something that I went to. But he was telling us that they went to this guy's house and that they went in and they found a tiger
At the 5-bedroom home residence and decided not to enter it.
Dark Sky.
The police
What's up, man?
drilled
Thank
a
you,
hole
bro.
through the wall and used a camera
wolf.
to
I
look
used to have a
inside as
wolf. I
one
said that earlier
officer
on the stream.
repelled from the roof to look through one of the windows.
Dude, y'all made me miss it again, man. I want to know what happens here. I used to own a wolf.
Out of the hospital on October the 3rd, the same day that officers from the NYPD approached his apartment while following up on a tip. They heard loud growls coming from inside the 5-bedroom home residence and decided not to enter it. The police drilled a hole through the wall and used a camera to look inside as one officer repelled from the roof to look through one of the windows.
Blue whales? Those are
They
cool.
eventually managed to locate
A blue whale's
Ming,
tongue weighs more than
the 425-pound Siberian Bengal tiger
what were you
living
doing
inside.
with a tiger in your house?
The giant feline was shot with a tranquilizer and taken to the animal control transport truck by a team of over 6 men. More incredible still, the officers also found a 5'6" alligator named Al living in one of the bedrooms.
How did they
The
know
police
his
questioned
name?
Yates' neighbors, but they had no idea they'd been living in the same building with a tiger.
That's crazy.
There was even a running joke about how much chicken Yates was eating. The part-time cab driver was actually feeding the chicken to Ming, about 20 pounds of it every day. Stranger still, Yates rented rooms to people who would eventually find out they were sharing the apartment with a tiger.
No.
All were terrified at first, but some reportedly grew fond of Ming. Thanks for watching.
There's no way,
Would you
dude.
rather?
There's no way. Could you imagine you're renting out a room and then you find out that there's a tiger in it and you don't move out? How could you not move out after that? You're just like, all right, I'm gonna just roll with it. No, dude, if I find that out, that dude's dropping the rent all the way down. I'm gonna live here for free, or I'm gonna squeal. I'm gonna snitch on you. That's what'll happen. I know the camera's being stupid. I'm trying to fix it. Okay, hold on. Hold on, Tanzan. We're about to discuss that. Okay. You said that when I was 9, there are several monkeys. They invaded my house and stole fruits and pooped in my house. No way. Pictures, or it didn't happen. You gotta prove that, dude. I need to see that. I need to see that. But alright, guys. That's been it, dude. We watched a bunch of videos. I loved doing this. This was really, really fun. So if you guys want to see me do this again soon, especially all you guys who have been in here in the last 2 live streams, I really appreciate you guys. You know, you guys are super awesome, and we'll definitely do more. But that's going to be it for today. Make sure you go watch my most recent video if you didn't, where I react to Mac Miller Self-Care. It was really, really good. I think it was a really good reaction. But other than that, I really appreciate you guys. I love spending time with you guys. And dude, Tanzan, I'm sorry that the I'm sorry that the monkeys did that, dude. BC, thank you, bro. And I'll see you guys in the next video.